Hello and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. I'm Janna and I'm here to tell you about the new challenge over at the Funkie Junkie challenge blog. Our new challenge is Contrast. This theme is going to be open from April 20th through May 3rd. Now, for contrast, this could mean a variety of things. We could be playing with contrast in texture, contrasting themes, contrasting colors. There are many possibilities. So today I'm planning on playing with contrasting colors, and we're going to be getting into a little bit of color theory. So if you'd like to see which supplies I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. Okay, and as always, don't forget if you'd like to participate in the challenge over at the Funkie Junkie Challenge blog or enter through Instagram, details will be down in the description box. So let's head over to the Crafty Corner. To get started with our project in contrasting colors, the first thing that I'm going to be doing is discussing a little bit of color theory. But before we even dive into that, let's go ahead and make ourselves a color wheel. I've drawn out a circle using a die as a stencil, and I've divided the circle into 12 parts. Now, I'm going to be pulling our colors for the color wheel from the Distress palette. So let's go ahead and start right here. We're going to be using Distress ink pads and some of the re-inkers that I already have here in this palette. And I'm going to be applying those to the paper with this paintbrush. So the colors that I'm going to be using for the color wheel are Mustard Seed, Wild Honey, Carved Pumpkin, Crackling Campfire, Candied Apple, Aged Mahogany, Wilted Violet, Prize Woman, Mermaid Lagoon, Salvaged Patina, Rustic Wilderness, and Twisted Citron. Okay, let's go ahead and fill in our color wheel. I'm going to do the first segment in real time, and then I'll speed the rest of these up as we fill in the color wheel. All right, so I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to be starting with Mustard Seed. So we'll just open this up, open the water brush, and take a little bit of the Distress re-inker and fill in that one section of the color wheel. So just putting that down, moving this over here, and I'll just work from the little chunk of the pie wedge out to the edge. Just like that. Nothing too hard, but I thought having the color wheel in front of us would give us a clearer idea of where this project is going to be headed so that we can see exactly which color combinations I'm going to be using and some examples of contrasting colors and other traditional color schemes. Okay, let's go ahead and put this on fast forward while I fill in the rest of these slices. And here is our finished color wheel using Distress colors. Now we're going to break this color wheel down into its basic components. The most basic elements of the color wheel are the three primary colors. In this case, we have Mustard Seed, Candied Apple, and Mermaid Lagoon. Next we have secondary colors. These are made from primary colors. In this case, we would have Rustic Wilderness, Carved Pumpkin, and Wilted Violet. For the last color grouping, we have the tertiary colors. In the Distress color wheel, these colors would include Twisted Citron, Wild Honey, Crackling Campfire, Aged Mahogany, Prize Ribbon, and Salvaged Patina. In case you are wondering, I am using some of the ideology number tokens as markers while I'm discussing the color wheel. So we're going to look at some different combinations for color combos. So one of the basic ones would be complementary colors. This is where you pick one color and then whatever color is directly across from it is its complementary color. So like here we'd have a red and a green, or we could do a yellow and purple. All of these different combinations, we just move one around, are complementary colors. Okay, another type would be analogous. Analogous is 3 in a row. So 3 colors, same color family, and they all blend nicely together, and we can just shift this 3 over, and each time we're going to have a beautiful color combination. Next, we have triadic. Triadic, pretty simple. That means we form a triangle, and we've got equal space between each grouping. So here we would have a blue, a green, and an orange color. And let's shift that over 1 each. That would give us our traditional primary colors, and we just keep shifting it over by 1, maintaining the same configuration, and we have a variety of color options. Next, we could have a split complementary color. This is where we would take, let's say, this one and that one, and we would move the bottom one. So we've got 1 in between and then 1 right at the top. This kind of makes like a little peace symbol type of shape. So color, skip a color, color, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th color completes the set. So let's try moving this over here. And then that would be this grouping. So this is the split complementary. Next, we would have the rectangular Tetriotic harmony. So we pick a color, skip 1, our next color, then we skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and skip 1 at the base, and that gives us our rectangular shape. So let's try another color combo. Let's say we're doing this one, skip 1, and then 1, 2, 3, skip 1. There we go. Another color combination. So this one is the rectangular Tetriotic harmony. And the last combination that we could look at is known as square harmony. So pick a color, skip 2, 1, 2, place the next color, skip 2, place 1, skip 2, place 1. And there we have square harmony. So we have got a bunch of different combinations that we could use. Now, the color combination I want to be looking at today is going to be the split complementary color. And for that, I want to be using mustard seed and prize ribbon and aged mahogany. This is going to be our contrasting color scheme. We have 1, 2 complementary, and then 1 non-complementary. So that's going to be our contrast. And we're going to put all of that lovely color over a black and white background for an even sharper contrast. So let's go ahead and start creating. To start with, let's work on our background. So for the base of the background, I'm going to be using some of the Distress White Heavy Stock, and we're going to be embossing with the doily embossing folder. Now, in order to get my black and white contrast, I'm going to be adding some black Distress Oxide ink on the inside of this folder. Unfortunately, I don't have a black Oxide ink pad, but what I do have is some of the Distress Black Soot Oxide re-inker. So I'm going to take some of the re-inker and shake it up really good to make sure that I can hear the mixing ball in there. And I'm going to put some of that off to the side on the craft mat, and I'm then going to use a brayer. I'm using the mini Distress brayer, and we're going to brayer the ink on to here. Okay, I've got ink on here. Now I'm going to carefully brayer this on. Probably need to do 2 layers. I'm really not sure how this is going to work. If I had a ink pad, I know this would work really well, but we're going to improvise and use what we have. So let's go ahead and give that a very light mist with the Distress sprayer. Okay, I'm putting on the piece of paper and I'm going to go run this through my Vagabond and we will see what we get in just a moment. All right, let's see what we've got. Oh, I like that. The majority of the doily is completely white and our background is a lovely Distress Oxide Black Soot. This is just what I was going for. That's good. Okay, so we have our background and I can see a little bit of white around there. So I think I'm going to take an ink tool and blend that out just a little bit. I don't want to have any harsh edges along here. Easy enough. Okay. I am liking that. Now I think the other thing that I'm going to do will be to add a few drips of water just to get a little bit more of an oxidized look. So we'll just sprinkle a few drops. Good, and I'm going to quickly dry this off and then we'll come back and see how it looks. Now for the main focal pieces of our card. So in order to put this card together, we're going to be busting out some of the new Brushstroke butterfly die cuts. I absolutely love these. The detail is fantastic. So let's go ahead and alter these die cuts. So to do that, we've already pre-cut some butterflies and we're going to add some color to these. Now, the majority of the butterfly is going to be reflecting the colors that we are using in our split complementary color scheme. So we're going to be using some mustard seed, some prize ribbon, and some aged mahogany. Now, to color these in, I've decided that I wanted to do a little bit of ink blending. So I'm going to start with the yellow and we'll work our way from there. Now, these little accent pieces, I'm going to set these aside. They're going to be important later when we get into some foundry wax. So I'll just carefully poke these out and set them aside. And then we will start inking. So for inking, nothing fancy. We're just going to grab one of the mini blending brushes with some dome foam, and we're going to add a bit of color. Need to switch this one out for some dome foam this time. Okay, with the dome foam in place, let's go ahead and add some Distress Oxide mustard seed to this butterfly. Well, nothing fancy, just a simple blend it on. And then I'm going to take a little bit of water and add a few drips, just so we have a little bit of texture going on. All right, I'm going to set this aside for the moment and I'll come back to this. Let's go ahead and take care of our next color. Next, we have some aged mahogany, and we're going to pull out the medium-ish butterfly and give that some color. Okay, and grabbing a blending tool. Okay, got that. I'm going to make sure that I don't have any residue on here. Just kind of wiping that off. Okay. Let's go ahead, get some ink. All right, that looks good. And we'll just start blending that on. Ooh, that is a nice deep color. You know, I don't think I've used aged mahogany for a whole lot before. Man, I've certainly been missing out on a good color. Okay, so that butterfly is looking good. I'm just going to go ahead and spritz this one with water. Okay, And I'll set that aside as well. Now it's time to dig out prize ribbon and add that one in as well. So let's pop out the butterfly and ink that up with some prize ribbon. Okay. Looks good. All right, let's go ahead and drip some water drops on this. Okay, I like that. So coming back to these are pretty much dry. I'm going to go ahead and give these a quick dry with the Ranger Heat tool, and then we'll come back and see about adding some shining accents. Okay, so here are the finished butterflies for the background pieces. We're going to set these aside and we're going to start making some accents. And for the accents, we're going to be using Foundry Wax Sterling. So I'm going to give this a very good shake. And we're going to drop this off to the side. We're going to add a few dots to the craft mat. And then I will paint these little wing accents with the Foundry Wax. And I also have these little squeezers here so that I can hold these teeny tiny pieces while I'm embossing and not worry about getting my fingers all crispy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a few pieces in real time, and then I'm going to put the rest of it on fast forward, and we'll do the embossing at the same time. Then we'll come back and add our accents. Okay, so Foundry Wax on the side. And I'm just going to take the paintbrush. Now with the Foundry Wax, we want to make sure that this starts to get just a little bit stiff before we start adding it to the paper. If it's not a little bit stiff, then it's just going to come right off, and parts of it would even sink into the paper because it's just too liquidy. I'm just going to keep tapping this, and pretty soon this should start to shift into something a little bit stiffer. Okay. Almost there. When it shifts, I'm going to have to move fast with the pieces, but that's okay. I've got them all set up and I'm ready to move quickly. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint these pieces. Now, when this stuff shifts, it shifts quickly, and then you have a very small window to get pieces painted. And the thing is, each Foundry Wax is going to behave slightly differently, so you have to kind of play around and figure out what your time frame is when working with each of the different Foundry Wax colors. As we can see, it's getting a little bit stiffer and it's starting to chunk up just a little bit. Not a problem. Still got time. Okay, so I've got this set of pieces all nice and painted. Let's go ahead and put the rest of this on fast forward while I get the other pieces painted and get the heat tool to melt the wax. Okay, now that we have all of our little pieces glazed with some foundry wax, let's go ahead and finish altering the last little pieces of the butterfly. So we have these little middle sections, and I'm just going to take a bit of Distress Black Soot, and we're going to quickly ink these up. Just taking a blending tool, holding onto one end, and just twisting and adding some ink. Nice and easy. All right, we've got 2 more pieces to do, and then we can start assembling our butterflies. Okay, a little twist, flip it over, catch the other side, and last piece. All right, so now it's time to go in with some collage medium, and we're going to put these butterflies together. So I'm going to put one together in actual time, and the rest we will do on fast forward. So let's start with the nice little one. So we're just going to take the middle part and add a bit of glue to it. Okay, and we'll stick that down. That looks good. Now I just need to find the rest of the little pieces, and we will be all set. Okay, next we have this little piece. Just to add that on with a touch of collage medium. There, just like that. We'll stick that down right over here. These pieces are a bit small, but not too bad for adding things in. All right, let's find the bottom corner. Let's see, that's going to be... Oh, I let these get just a bit mixed up. Okay, well, I found the top piece. Can use that one. Add in the collage medium, and we'll stick it down. Okay, just lining that up. I'll hold that a couple of seconds. That's going to need a moment to adhese. That collage medium dries nice and quick, so it doesn't take too long, which is wonderful. Okay, now I need the last part that's going to go towards the bottom. Okay, so it looks like I need to lift this piece off because this little piece is actually going to tuck in under that. So just go back, add in the collage medium, tuck that under. Ah, that makes sense. That goes right there. Hold that for a moment, and then I'll go back and reattach this part. Okay. Good. All right, that works. And now this last little piece goes at the bottom. Okay, good. And there is our first little butterfly. Let's go ahead and put the rest of this on fast forward. Here are the finished results with our Brushstroke butterflies and Distress ink with accents of foundry wax. The shine on this is absolutely amazing. I love the look that foundry wax gives these little butterflies. Okay, now that we have all of our pieces together, let's go ahead and assemble our card. Then we can get the full look of this unique color combination. So here is our background. Now let's go ahead and start placing our butterflies. Kind of already had an idea of what I want to do with these little guys. And down in the corner, I'm adding a sentiment, also altered with some foundry wax. Tilt that butterfly like this. Move that one there, and I wanted to add this one down here. Okay, I am liking the composition of this, but maybe I want to turn that around and put the sentiment up here. Let's try this. It's going to go over there. That would get tucked over here. Several possibilities. This I like. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to glue down the sentiment, and then we will place the butterflies. Now with the butterflies, I've popped them up with some foam, and we just need to take the little adhesive off the back in order to stick them down and place our butterflies. So I'm just going to put the sentiment back in the corner. I'm going to hold that a couple of seconds. I'm going to flip over a butterfly while I'm holding this. I'm just going to peel off the backings of the foam, and then I can place that butterfly. Right there. Perfect. And we'll do the same with the other ones. Just popping off the backing of the foam and sticking the butterfly down. So here we have used a split complementary color scheme. This means that we took one primary color and then we have two colors that are offset just one space on the color wheel. So one primary and two offset colors. I'm going to go ahead and pull in the color wheel so that we can take a look at this particular color scheme. Let's go ahead and look back at our color wheel. These are the distress colors that I decided to use for our offset color scheme. We have mustard seed, prize ribbon, and aged mahogany. Now, mustard seed is originally a primary color. Prize ribbon and aged mahogany are tertiary colors. Their original primary colors would have been mermaid lagoon and candied apple. Instead, we moved them in one space to give ourselves this offset color scheme. Now, looking over at our card, not only do we have the color scheme going on for us, we've also got texture as well. I hadn't even planned this, and it's kind of cool. So in the background, we have got this wonderful textured doily feel, and then we have this smooth wax of foundry wax over here. So we have our contrasting color scheme, and we have contrasting textures. So thank you so much for joining me here at the Crafty Corner for the new theme of contrast for the Funkie Junkie Challenge. If you would like to join us at the Funkie Junkie Challenge blog, I will be leaving links down in the description box. And as always, we can't wait to see all of your creative makes and your take on contrasts. So until next time, happy crafting.